What is going on, guys? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. I try to join the community, but there's no longer a monthly option. That is true, Hassan. There is no longer a monthly option. It's because we're trying to keep it a tight-knit group. So we closed the signups, and right now we open up applications every month, and they tend to run out pretty quickly. So yeah, and we're also offering people the option to get the courses, the Zoom calls, etc. So it is no longer just a monthly membership where you just pay for the Discord. You get access to everything. And the minimum is an entire year, or you can buy lifetime and not have to worry about it again. But yeah, check the link in the description if you are interested. If not, I will keep providing these beautiful live streams and free content for you. Salaryman says hair. Yeah, so a lot of you guys have been asking me about this. We will get into the Fed minutes. We will get into the Fed minutes. Actually, let's get into the Fed minutes. I don't want to talk about hair. We will talk about hair later, okay? Because I already see 15 comments on hair. But let us talk about the meeting minutes, okay? The meeting minutes, Fed minutes. Why are they hiding the articles? Why are they hiding the articles? Let's see, Fed officials. Yo, I'm trying to get to the Fed meeting minutes, but all the links in Market Watch are broken. Fed meeting minutes. So let's talk about it. Fed meeting minutes may point to rationale for size of future rate hikes. I can't find any news stories on the meeting minutes. I will tell you what I'm looking for, but I can't find it. They're supposed to be released right now. But here's what I'm looking for, and I posted this on the Discord. So if you go to the alert section, here's what I'm looking for. So on the Fed meeting minutes, what we're looking for is, we're looking for four things, right? We're looking for any talks of a recession. Actually, you know what? Let me just tell folks that I'm live. I am live now. Okay. So what we're looking for are four things, and then I'll get to your questions and I'll answer your very important questions about hair. Okay. Regine, what's going on? What's going on, girl? All right. So we're looking for four things in the Fed meeting minutes. And by the way, guys, hit me up on the chat, which I'm also monitoring here on the other monitor, if you guys can spot a Fed meeting minutes article, because the ones in Market Watch are actually not working. So we're looking for four things. Any talks of a recession, right? We remember the Fed meeting minutes came out a day before the Q2 GDP. So we're going to talk about, or we want to see if they talked about any indications of a recession, because obviously the Fed meeting minutes came before we had that 0.9% contraction in the economy. Then we want to look for any reiteration of another aggressive rate hike in September, because remember that during the actual Fed meeting itself, Jerome Powell said that we are at neutral, and it looked like, or the market interpreted, that the Fed was going to ease, which is the reason that the market started rocketing, as well as the fact that we had decent guidance on the mega cap stocks, right? Which is why we saw this rally up until this point now. And then conviction in tripling the balance sheet runoff in September. Remember that the balance sheet runoff, i.e. quantitative tightening, and if you guys want me to go over what quantitative tightening is, I'll be happy to do that. But the balance sheet runoff is going to triple in size in September. So we want to see if there's any indication of that. And then any reference to the target of the federal funds rate, right? So that's what we're looking at. And we want to see if the federal funds rate, if they're going to talk about a target at the end of the year of 3.5% or more, okay? Haruto says, please read the article instead of talking, dude. Haha. I was looking for the article, genius, but the articles weren't ready yet. If you don't want to hear me talk, feel free to find the door. Find the door, brother. All right, let's look to see if they released any articles that we can click to. Fed meeting minutes, maybe FOMC meeting minutes. No, let's go back to Market Watch and see what's what. Fed meeting minutes. Okay. Why are the articles not working? Federal Reserve officials. Let's see. Okay. This came out just now. Okay, so Federal Reserve officials in July agreed it was necessary to move their benchmark interest rate high enough to slow the economy to combat inflation that remained well above their 2% target. Fed officials said that moving to a restrictive stance of policy high enough to slow growth was required. It was prudent from a risk management point of view, officials said, because it would better position the FOMC to raise the policy rate further to appropriately restrictive levels if inflation were to run higher than expected. At the July meeting, Fed officials voted to raise their benchmark rate by 0.75 percentage points for the second time. None of this is new. However, according to the minutes, here we go. Some Fed officials disagreed and stressed that the level of the Fed's benchmark federal funds rate remained below shorter run neutral levels. So remember that Jerome Powell came out and said that we are at neutral, which is crazy. I don't think anybody besides himself and maybe, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi agreed with that. But it said here that some Fed officials disagreed with that and stressed the level of the Fed's benchmark federal funds rate, that it should be way higher than it is currently. The Fed will meet again in late September. Officials have said that more rate hikes are appropriate, but there's an ongoing debate on whether to raise by 50 or 75. Now, if you saw my last video, there are some major financial figures as well as economists that think that the Fed are going to do even a slighter basis point rate hike at 0.25 basis points, right? Just as a formality, because inflation looked like it was trending down. Remember that September 13th is when the next CPI data comes in, and the Fed doesn't have to meet again until September 21st. So you're going to have at least a week before this next CPI reading and the Fed meeting. So let's read the rest of this. It says Fed officials are worried about the significant risk that elevated inflation could become entrenched if the public began to question the Fed's resolve to hike rates by a sufficient amount to quell inflation. On the other hand, many Fed officials say they were worried about the risk that the Fed could tighten the stance of monetary policy by more than was necessary. So right now, it looks like an unknown was introduced. And remember, the market doesn't like unknowns. Let's actually see what is going on with the market. And which way are they interpreting this? It looks like the NASDAQ is still down 0.82%, S&P down 0.4%, Dow down 0.25%. So kind of around where they were right before the meeting minutes were released. All right, so let me look at your guys' questions. And let me check in with some of you and say hi to a lot of you. All right, Fed sees interest rate hike continue until inflation eases substantially. I'm going to show, yes, we talked about that. 75 rate hike. Not really a 75 rate hike as we just announced. There seems to be a disagreement in the Fed between 50 or 75. All right, let's see. Can we take a long position in futures? You don't want to take a long position here at all. Why would you want to take a long position here? 423 puts on the SPY. No hate. I sent you a link. Thank you, Rami. Okay, let's see. See a slower pace of hikes in the future. Officials see a slower pace of hikes in the future. All right. Check CNBC. What's your Tesla price target? 6 to 12 months. Tesla taking off. So was this more hawkish? James Noah says. I think most of it was priced in. It's just, according to what we just read, there seems to be a debate between 50 or 75 basis point rate hike, right? And there seems to be a disagreement between the Fed officials that we're at neutral or not. So that's it. let's go to CNBC and see what they are saying. All right, Fed sees interest rate hikes continuing until inflation eases substantially. Minutes show. 1 second. Federal Reserve officials at their July meeting indicated they likely would not consider pulling back interest rate hikes until inflation came down substantially, according to minutes from the session released Wednesday. During a meeting where the central bank approved a 0.75 basis point rate, blah, blah, blah. They did not provide specific guidance for future increases. Instead, they would be watching data closely before making that decision. Meeting participants noted that the 2.25 to 2.5% range, which is where we are currently at, for the Fed funds rate was around the neutral level that is neither supportive nor restrictive on activity. Some officials said a restrictive stance likely will be appropriate, indicating more rate hikes to come. Of course, there has to be more rate hikes to come, and I'll talk about why that is in a second. We'll go over the data here showing the federal funds effective rate and how we are still negative, right? The federal funds effective rate is still negative. This is the Fed funds rate minus inflation, basically. However, the summary also said that some participants said it would likely be appropriate to maintain that level for some time to ensure that inflation was firmly on a path back to 2%. So it looks like some Fed officials disagreed with Jerome Powell, which is seen as hawkish, but obviously Jerome Powell has the last say at what happens in February, in September. And unfortunately, the Fed in recent years especially has been influenced by politicians. So because we do have an election coming up and it looks like inflation is peaking, even though, a drop from 8.5%, in my view, is going to take a lot more in terms of rate hikes. It looks like in the interim, in my view, I think the Fed will walk the line as tepidly as possible in order to make sure that the market doesn't tank before the election. I've been around a long time, and that's just how things work. Both parties do it. And that's what I think. That's why you see some economists now saying that the Fed might even do a 25 basis point rate hike, especially if on September 13th, which is the next CPI data, it comes in lower than 8.5%. So, all right, let's see. Though the Fed took the unprecedented steps of hiking 3/4 of a point in successive meetings, markets have been in rally mode lately on hopes that the central bank might soften the pace of increases heading into the fall. Yes. The minutes noted that some members worried the Fed could overdo it with rate hikes, underscoring the importance of not being tied to forward guidance on moves and instead following the data. So most of this is priced in, and the only unknown right now is whether the Fed is going to do a 50 basis point rate hike, a 75 basis point rate hike. All of that stuff is unknown. And you are seeing now the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Dow pairing losses from earlier. The NASDAQ was down, I think, almost 1.7% earlier, and now it's only down 0.54. S&P is down only 0.17, and the Dow's down 0.01. So, and the crazy thing is, I was actually going to take a short on Tesla right here at the 200 moving average on the 5-minute. Once we passed the VAH, going into the FVG from the day before, and also the 0.32 fib level, and I'm glad I didn't. I was actually eyeing this, but I said I would wait until the Fed meeting minutes are released and then go from there. But obviously right now I don't have time to do all the trades that I wanted to do. Tepidly as possible, is that a word? Did TTD just make up a word? He Wyland, Randy Gomez says, okay, do you think tepidly is not a real word? Let's look it up. Tepidly. Tepidly, in an unenthusiastically lukewarm manner. There you go. It's a real fucking word. No, I didn't just make up a word. All right. I buy puts on your hair. Thank you, Didi. Short the do tepidly as possible. Okay, UK comes out with 10% inflation, probably real numbers versus US. What do you think? I do think that the situation looks really bad in Europe, which is why you are seeing the Dixie or the dollar index continue to rise. So if we look at, where is my chart? If you look at the dollar index continues to, this is the 5-minute. Let's look at the 1 day. The dollar index continues to rise day after day, really, because of how well the U.S. is doing compared to other countries. So, yeah. Tell me I was right about the summer rally. Jonathan North, I have no idea what you're talking about. Should we buy now or wait? I mean, look, if you didn't buy before, then your decision is going to be harder, right? The time to buy is not now when you're at resistance here. Unfortunately, this is not the time to buy. So the time to buy was either when we entered a bear market, or really the time to buy was, after the last FOMC meeting, or after guidance on mega cap companies came out decently. I mean, the time to buy is not after the strongest bear market rally in history. And at resistance. That is not the time to buy. So, when I had started buying, it was a little early-ish, right? It was in May when we hit oversold on the S&P 500 and we hit oversold on the triple Qs. The bottom didn't end up being until a month and a week later. But I make a habit of buying every time we hit a bear market. Now, I wish I had bought more because I didn't deploy all of the cash that I had sitting on the sideline in order to buy. But that is how the game goes. I sold the cash secure puts and I bought at the first sign of a bear market. And I just waited because I wasn't convinced that earnings or guidance would be extremely good. By the way, guys, hit that thumbs up if you get anything out of this video. It allows other people to find the stream. And plus, we're overbought now, right? We haven't been overbought on the S&P 500 since November 2021, and we know how that ended. So, this is not the time to buy if you haven't bought already. Unfortunately, a lot of people will be feeling the FOMO, and a lot of people will make the mistake of buying heavy here at resistance, but you essentially want to buy on the way down. And you're never going to time it right. But if you make a habit of buying every time the market hits a bear market, you'll be better off in the long run. Trust me. All right. Let's see. All right. It's never time to buy anyways, only time to sell puts. Well, no, it's not even time to sell puts, Hassan. Because you want to sell puts when the market is tanking. The reason that you want to sell puts on, during red trends is because the value of puts are higher. And when you sell puts, you want to get the most money for it possible, right? A lot of people that sold puts back in March, come May, they've been liquidated or close to liquidated because obviously they're obligated to buy 100 shares of stock for every put that they sell, and the value of that stock was well below their put strike. So you actually want to sell puts on major red trends. You don't want to sell puts after the biggest bear market rally that we've ever had. That's not when you want to sell puts. Do you think that the high inflation in Europe and high probability of recession in Europe will have an immediate impact on the market here? It really depends on what the Fed does, Greg. The Fed really controls. Okay, here I'm going to show you something, and I'll prove to you that the Fed controls the market. Okay, and ever since 2008, the Fed has implemented new ways of controlling the market that we've never seen before. So, since 2008, the Fed implemented not only what seems like a lifetime of a negative Fed funds rate, but they introduced bond buying, right, in 2008. And right now they have 9 trillion assets on their balance sheet. And so since 2000, after 2008, after that major recession, look at the the effective Fed funds rate. It remained negative the whole time. So those of you who were thinking that, from 2009 basically up until the COVID crash of 2020, that was the longest bull market in stock market history, well, that is true. But why is that? Well, look at the effective Fed funds rate. It's been negative the whole time. And the Fed funds rate is just, or the effective Fed funds rate is just the Fed funds rate minus inflation. So we've essentially been at negative rates the whole time. And when we're at negative rates, that's what we call accommodative policy. Companies love that. Businesses love that. The economy loves that because when rates are effectively negative, the economy tends to grow because borrowing money is really cheap, right? That is why we had the biggest bull market in history, is because the Fed funds rate remained negative. Now look at historically. Every time we've come out of a recession, the effective Fed funds rate had to go positive in order to especially in order to beat inflation when we've had times of high inflation. So in this case, what a lot of economists who are still bearish on the market are saying is that, okay, from 2009 all the way to 2020, we didn't have an inflation problem. Now we have an inflation problem. And every time we've had an inflation problem, the effective Fed funds rate had to be positive, meaning the federal funds rate had to be higher than CPI. And CPI right now, as you guys know, is 8.5%. So that is why a lot of economists who are still bearish right now are saying that, hey guys, slow your roll. A very aggressive tightening cycle is coming up because the Fed has to raise the effective rate to become positive in order to really fight inflation, right? So it really becomes a battle between whether it really becomes a decision of how long the Fed is willing to wrangle with inflation, right? Or it's a game of chicken. Who's going to cave first? Is inflation going to cave first, or is the Fed going to cave first and raise rates? But pay attention to this. Pay attention to the effective federal funds rate and the fact that it's been negative for almost 11 years, which fueled the longest bull market in history. And now, in order to fight inflation, it cannot remain negative much longer, okay? And this, by the way, has been the lowest. I think this is the lowest effective federal funds rate ever at negative 6.23, which we saw back in March. And it is now climbing back up, but we have a long way to go to get to positive. So hopefully that makes sense. But that, Greg, is a very long-winded way of answering your question. It really depends on what the Fed does. I don't think it depends on, on what's happening in Europe or what's happening in China. Anonymous donated $50 to St. Jude's. Appreciate whoever that was. That's amazing. Really appreciate whoever that was. And if you want to remain anonymous, that's even more admirable. But let me know who you are so I can shout you out. Really appreciate what you do. TTT is the realest of the real. Appreciate you, Randy. Thanks for the live stream. Appreciate you, Noha. Appreciate you. You think we're going to go down or up from here on the QQQ? I think it's going to be choppy until September 13th, which is when the next CPI is, and then September 21st, which is the next FOMC meeting, because the meeting minutes didn't really give any guidance on what the rate hike is going to be. So Adriel Roman says, Z and the whole team at TT is awesome. Appreciate you, Adriel. Thank you for being a longtime member. Hello, Z, just joined. What's up, Magdalena? How you doing? You look like the Fuhrer? Really? I look like an Aryan dude? Look how dark I am. What the hell are you talking about, bro? All right. What do you think, market pumping or dumping? Give me an answer. I already did. Where do I join your stock picks? I need copy and paste method because I have a full-time job. Unfortunately, copy and paste method is really not going to help you regardless of who you join. So yeah, suffering quite a lot because USA printing. Was the Fed easing since 2009 until now? Yes, David. I hope you caught that entire diatribe that I was just on about the Fed. Big Mac or Burger King Whopper? Whopper for sure. Whopper for sure. All right. How much time is left for what? The market to close? An hour and a half. Markets ends negative today this week. Alan, I'm not even going to repeat what you just said. Love the Fed effective rate CPI explanation. Appreciate you, Greg. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't pay attention to that, but that is the reason. That is the reason we had the longest bull market in history. The market loves Powell. Yeah, I mean, they love Powell, but they also loved Yellen right before that, and they loved Ben Bernanke right before that, because they, those three were really the ones who kept the Fed funds rate negative. And if you guys remember, when Trump was president, he even threatened Powell on Twitter. He threatened to fire him, even though it wasn't. I don't think the president can fire the Fed chair, but he wanted us to go to negative, to negative, to negative nominal rates. Not only, obviously the effective rate has been negative, but he wanted to go to negative nominal rates. And obviously we didn't do that, but we got close. We got 0% during COVID. Great live stream. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Did the Fed come out today yet? Yes, John Vu. The Fed meeting minutes came out. And the meeting minutes basically, I'll go over it again for those of you that just joined. And leave that thumbs up, guys. Leave that thumbs up so that other people can find the stream. But basically, the Fed meeting minutes showed that the Fed meeting, or the Fed members, disagreed on how aggressive the Fed should be, and the Fed members also disagreed on whether we are at neutral or not. So it shows that there are some members that are like, what the hell are you talking about, Jerome? We are not at neutral. We have a long way to go. And some Fed members still believe that we should do a 75 basis point rate hike in September. Oh, one thing that I wanted to look at was the FOMC watch tool to see how, after the Fed meeting minutes were released, did the is the market now thinking that the Fed is going to do less of a rate hike or more of a rate hike? Let's see. So we have about 60% saying that, so it's largely unchanged. We have about 60% saying that the Fed is going to do a 50 to 75 basis point rate hike. That is what this says, as opposed to 75 to 100, right? Now, before the CPI numbers came out, this was skewed more towards the 75 to 100. But then since the CPI came out and showed that we are actually peaking in inflation, this shifted entirely to 50 to 75. So now 60% of the market think that we will do a 50 to 75 basis point rate hike, essentially what is actually in the Fed meeting minutes. All right, let's see. Up or down, sir? I already answered that. It's way more nuanced than that. Thanks for the recap. I appreciate you, Courtney. Randy says, nah, this is live. Yes, it is live. All for show. It's live. Short time bear power looks good for the rest of the week. Should I join Hustlers University? I don't even know what that is. What is Hustlers University? Guys, I have no idea. Like, you guys ask me about other YouTubers or, other people in the online finance sphere. I really don't have time to watch other people. I do, watch videos that people send me on the Discord out of respect for you guys, but I really don't spend time on there. He doesn't want a panic. You're talking about Jerome? Yeah, for sure. Hello from India. What are your views on Indian markets? Heron, I'll be honest with you, man. I have no fucking clue. Okay. I can only pay attention to one market, and I try to learn the insides and outs of the market. And yes, if there are other markets that affect our market, then I will look into those as it relates to its relationship with the US, but I have no time to look at, to look fully into, other markets. Half y'all saying dumb shit, let Z be Z. That's why I'm in the Discord. Appreciate you. Z's hair looked like someone just jumped out of bush at him, Omar says. Dude, Real Madrid or PSG? Neither. Barcelona. I'm bullish on your bench press. Thank you, Travis. Okay, so about the hair, I'm growing it out, okay? Most of you that are my age don't have fucking hair, so keep on with the hair comments. Keep yapping with the hair comments. It's cool. I don't care. At least I'm not losing it. But yeah, I'm growing it out. So continue talking about it. It's fine. Calls on the hair, great content. Give your opinion about the market continue. I already did. Smart Share Investors. Randy Gomez says, dreads? No, I'm not. Did you go to Turkey for a transplant? I've never had a transplant in my life. Look at my hair. It's just from God. Beto Aguilar. ¿Qué tal? What's going on, man? How you doing? Been a long time, bro. Been a long time. Hi from Sweden. Joaquim, what's going on? Top G is bald and he is top G. What are you guys talking about? Are you from Greece? No, I'm not from Greece. What did they say so far? Rewind the tape. I went over it like 3 times. I went over it 3 times. All right. These guys are freaking funny as fuck. You're the best, Z. More futures trades in the group, please. Yes. More futures trades are coming. I'm glad that you guys are paying attention more to futures. So futures are actually do have some benefits over options. The main one being no theta decay on futures, right? So there's no time to get decay on futures, and it's straightforward pricing. Meaning, have you guys ever bought calls and the price of the stock still went up, but you lost money on the calls because either IV crush or because the delta was too low and the stock didn't make a big enough move up? Well, with futures, it's straightforward pricing, meaning that if you enter at a certain price, so let's just take the S&P futures, for instance. If you bought it at a certain price and it went up, well, you made money. If you bought it at a certain price and it went down, well, you lost money. So it's very similar to buying a stock that goes up or down in price. And you don't have to worry about theta decay, meaning that you can hold these over a period of multiple days and not worry about the time decaying element that you get with options. The drawback is they require margin, and they require a lot more margin than options would. But, you know, it has its advantages and disadvantages. But yes, we have been trading a lot more futures in the Academy. Shout out to all the analysts in there as well who've been giving out some fire-ass futures trades. And it is a great way to play the markets, especially when you're scalping and you don't want to be caught off guard by the variability that you get with options pricing, right? The variance that you get with options pricing, where sometimes even if you guess the direction correctly, you can lose money on the option because it didn't make a big enough move. So yeah, shout out to those of you that has started to trade futures because of the group. Amazing. Hi from Dubai. What's going on, Sankit? How are you doing? TTT is 50. No, I'm not 50. But I sure have probably, I've been around the markets a long time to match what a 50-year-old would know. All right. Let's see. Did you used to work at a hedge fund? Not at a hedge fund, but a brokerage firm. Yeah, but no, it was not a hedge fund. You could be a hair model as a side hustle. You guys are crazy. He was an intern for Gordon Gekko. Omar, what the fuck? You guys are hilarious today. FOMC negative. What do you do for a living? You're kidding, right? Thoughts on Chinese housing bubble? Yeah, I think it's really bad. However, know that China can actually manipulate their currency and their economy as much as they want. And actually, China cut rates recently. I don't know if you guys saw that news story, but China cut its interest rates while the whole entire world is trying to raise rates to fight inflation. China actually cut its rates. Plus, obviously, they do currency manipulation, right? What time does Jay Powell speak? He speaks on what do you call it? September 21st. He doesn't speak today. Today is just the Fed meeting minutes, meaning that the meeting minutes from their previous meeting are released today, so you get more detail as to what they said. Working in Angola and watching. What's going on, Sergey? Sergey doesn't sound like an Angolan name, but I'm going to guess that you are probably a Russian expat living in Angola. How is it there, by the way? I've never been there. Are you always traveling? Yes. TTT, I'm long TTT's hair. Zaddy. Wow. You guys are crazy about this hair thing. It's really not that great. Like I don't have anything in it. Abbas says love from India. What's going on? Shout out to India. I've been to India once and it was amazing. And I haven't been back. And I definitely need a trip out there. When do the meeting do? You guys' questions are just getting better and better. Are these live streams exhausting? No, they're actually very fun because I'm a masochist like that. What's TTT's OnlyFans? Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Hi from Bahrain. What's going on, Avirat Aurora? Thank you for the great information. I appreciate you. Bro, dump or pump? I already answered that. It's more nuanced than that. Do you ever seen BBBY rally? Yes, I actually bought BBBY calls yesterday and closed them. That Abbas was heavy. You are Arab, definitely. Hello from Singapore. TTT's from the Valley. I'm not from the Valley. I'm from LA. I live very, 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 very close to West LA. Are you Turkish? No, I'm not Turkish. DraftKings and Palantir, keep or sell? K, I have no idea where you bought. How can I tell you whether to keep or sell? Say Bud D guy. All right. What time is the Fed minutes? Already released. We went over them 3 times. All right. What country have you been to that you promise yourself you'll never return back? I was just talking about this. I don't know if I want to answer this because I definitely have an answer. But the thing is, I respect all of you and I love all of you. So if one of you is from, that country, I don't want to offend you. So it's a very good question. And if we ever met for a beer or a coffee, I will tell you. But I'm not going to say it on the live stream because I respect all of you. All right, let's see. Thoughts on GME pop after BBBY? Hello from Iran. What's going on, Amir? All right, so here's what I was let's talk about the meme stocks real quick, okay? And I'm going to show you a resource that you need. Most active options today, okay? Type in most active options today. Go to the optionseducation.org site, okay? Here is what I'm going to show you with this. Look at the daily volume percentage, right? This shows you, and it's up to date, by the way, if you look at the time here. It's in real time, almost real time. But it shows you what are the most traded options today relative to their volume. And so if you're looking at AMC, for instance, or you're looking at GME, you'll see that they don't have quite nearly the volume that BBBY does because now all of the focus and attention is here. So if you think that the meme rally will continue, well, look up what the options volume is, and you could see whether AMC or GME or whatever stock you're looking at has enough options volume to push up, right? Now, if the move hasn't been made yet, and like you see AMC here, it's actually less than what it typically does in terms of volume, and you believe that AMC is going to go up, well, this is when you actually want to buy calls before people start pouring into the options. Because once people start pouring into the options, that is when the options premiums become expensive. And that is when, you stand to make less money from the option itself, right? So, and this resource is actually good. And I'm not just talking about for meme stocks, but just in general, if you want to find the options that are being traded the most today, and you're looking for trade ideas, or you want to look at a chart, and maybe set up a few day trades or whatever, look at optionseducation.org and look at this tool here because it will tell you what are the most active options for today. And this is, part of the way that we get the options day trade watch list, because we only trade options that are very liquid. So even though I use Thinkorswim and I use other tools, a great free tool, especially if you don't have Thinkorswim, is optionseducation.org, and you want to look at this and see what are the most active options, and then set up your charts and go from there. What is the NASDAQ and the S&P? What are they doing right now? So the QQQ looks like it's down 0.8%. The SPY looks like it's down 0.44%. And the Dow Jones looks like it's down only 0.06%, so relatively flat on the day. And this is after the meeting minutes were released. But for those of you that are asking, you know, are we going to moon from here? The meeting minutes didn't reveal anything that would let us moon from here, because the meeting minutes basically just said that, you know, some Fed officials disagreed that we're at neutral, and some Fed officials thought that we should do a 75 basis point, 50 to 75 basis point rate hike in September, and the Fed shouldn't leave their foot off the gas. So there isn't, if you're asking me, is there something in the Fed meeting minutes that is saying that we're going to rally? No. However, this is not the time to go heavy. In my view, the time to go heavy was when the stock market hit official bear market status, which was back in May, not now, because this is the most violent rally, bear market rally that we've ever seen, considering where the S&P 500 had dropped to and where the NASDAQ had dropped to. We've seen more violent bear market rallies, but that was after bigger drops. You know, like in 2008, 2009, there were much bigger bear market rallies, but the drop from the top was also a lot bigger than this drop here so far. So we're overbought on the SPY. We're overbought on the triple Qs. We're right at resistance. This is not the time to buy, right? The time to buy, you want to fade the market. You want to buy on the way down. You don't want to buy after the most insane rally that we've ever had. So, you know, but to each their own, whatever you guys think. Let me just mute this dude. Let's see. Hide user from channel. All right. Have a good day. TTT chat is getting ridiculous. Thanks for great content. Appreciate you, Matthew. Why did the market go up after the minutes? The market is still down, and the market is just experiencing intraday fluctuation. There's still, you know, over an hour left. TTT scored. TTT scored a honey in Italy. I saw on IG. That is my girl, dude. I didn't score a honey in Italy. We came here together. TTT, I always love your content and streams. Appreciate you, Hemnath. Appreciate. I haven't seen you in a while, man, but I appreciate you. What do you see in the next 2 to 3 weeks? I think we see choppiness in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Do you swing trade based on option education details? No, because I have access to other tools. I was just giving you an example of a free tool that you can use. If you had to ask Jerome Powell a question, what would it be? Oh, this is very easy. And hopefully he'd be hooked up to a lie detector test. But I would ask him if a president has ever reached out to him to try to influence his decision. Of course I would ask him that, whether it was Trump or Joe, right? That's definitely what I would ask him. And I would want a true answer. So I'd hopefully, you know, give him some, what is it? Sodium pentothal? What is the truth serum? For those of you scientists, let me know. But I think it's sodium pentothal. Or hook him up to a lie detector test. But yes, I would love, if I got a true answer, I would love to ask him if a president has ever reached out to him directly to try to influence policy, right? You burn the shitty questions but don't answer deeper questions. Dude, I've been answering every single question. What are you talking about? Are you still in NY? No, I'm in Italy. Was the minutes hawkish or dovish? I would say neutral, but leaning more hawkish than what Jerome Powell had stated in the actual Fed meeting. Okay. Asian? You're asking if I'm Asian? Y'all are crazy, man. What did the Fed say in your opinion? I just answered this. The Fed said that some Fed members didn't agree that we are at neutral, and some Fed members said that we need to keep our foot on the gas with the rate hikes. So that's all that happened. How dangerous is decay in leverage ETFs? Very dangerous. Very dangerous. What did the Fed say? I already said that. Is there any theta decay in options in a single day? Yes. There is theta decay I mean, it depends on how long you keep it, right? Especially with zero DTEs, which is 0 days to expiration. If you buy them in the morning, throughout the day, they will sustain a very violent decay, especially if they're out of the money. So yes, it's the last day of theta decay on zero DTEs. Ones that expire way further out, then no. In general, on the same day, you're not going to experience major theta decay unless you bought like right when the market opened and held it, the whole day. You might experience a little bit of theta decay, but certainly on options that expire, very soon, especially on zero DTEs, then yes, of course, you're going to experience theta decay during that day. Hell yeah, you can bank with TTT course, easily pays for itself. Appreciate you, Randy. What is stocks? Funny. What stock do you recommend to buy now? I think you're a bit late here. Vortexian, to be honest, I think you're a little bit late. I think that there is an okay opportunity on some stuff like Google, for instance. Even though it is at resistance, I personally wouldn't buy here, but it is still down from highs. If you wanted to dollar cost average a bit into the triple Qs, again, it's at resistance. I personally wouldn't buy here, but it is still down. The triple Qs are still down from highs. Let's see. The triple Qs are still down almost 20% from highs. So you're still getting a 20% discount on the NASDAQ. I wouldn't load heavy here, but a dollar cost average 20% down for the long term is okay. I wouldn't expect to make money in the short term. Amazon, I think, is at resistance too. So this is going to be a tough one, but Amazon's still a bit of a discount here. I, again, would not buy a resistance, but you're still getting a little bit of a discount from highs if your time horizon is way longer. Let's see what else. I do like Micron, even though it made a big move recently as well, but Micron is an undervalued stock in my opinion for the very long term, and especially if we do see a little bit of weakness in chips, right? SOX L, somewhat of a decent value here, even though it is creating a double top, but dollar cost averaging at this level, not bad. But those are the stocks. Those are some of the stocks I would look at. And then, anytime that we get Berkshire Hathaway is such a beast, but anytime that we get a discount on Berkshire Hathaway, I try to add more, even though we are at resistance now as well. But, Berkshire Hathaway from highs right now is down about 15 or 16%. I mean, Warren Buffett is such a beast. Like, if you look at this, it doesn't even look like, we sustain a market crash. This is one of the best and most consistent funds you'll ever see is Berkshire Hathaway. And I think it's one that a lot of people overlook, right? So, and they own a ton of Apple, right? Which is part of the reason that they're up, because Apple is, close to making all-time highs. They're very close to all-time highs. I actually sold covered calls on Apple because of that reason. All right, guys. Let's see. Any other questions? Geo is doing well. Yeah, because that is, they got some notoriety from Michael Burry only holding one stock, which is Geo. But, look at when Michael Burry sold most of his stocks. He sold at the bottom. June 30th, 2022, he sold Bristol Myers, Booking, Discovery, Alphabet. He sold a bunch of stocks on June 30th, right? Near the bottom. So, yeah, he kept Geo, but that is why it's doing well. I don't know that it's a sustained rally, though. VIX, good hedge on port. Not a great hedge on the port. I would much rather sell calls if you can. If you have at least 100 shares of stock, I would much rather sell calls. That is a more optimal way to sell after this huge rally, to sell calls. If you don't have 100 shares of stock, what you could do is buy protective puts, buy lead puts, buy debit put spreads, or sell credit call spreads. I don't know. The VIX has to make huge moves in order for you to make money, right? So unless you expect there to be some black swan event or something similar where you get a huge spike on the VIX within a couple of days, it's not a great hedge in my opinion. All right. Do you do live every day? No, not every day, but I try to do it every week. Are you bullish on Ethereum merge? Not sure what you're talking about. Do you think we will break and hold the 200-day moving average on? I talked about this already. My analysis on the SPY, if that's what you're talking about. Do you think Tesla's at a good price? Good price? No. No, I don't think it's at a good price. And I do think you need to watch out for the split, which happens August 24th or 25th. When is the Tesla split? When is the Tesla split? Let's see. Tesla split is August 25th. Yeah, I do think you need to watch out for that because the last time Tesla split, it tanked 33%. The last time Apple split, it tanked 25%. The last time Amazon split, it tanked 20%. So, watch out on splits because newbie buyers tend to buy a lot that day, but that's when the smart money dumps after, fading this rally. That's when the smart money starts dumping on noobs, right? So I personally wouldn't buy Tesla here. Wait for the split. When is the FOMC, guys? September 21st. Can you please do a video summary of this later? Maybe, but you can also rewind the tape and watch it for yourself. When is the FOMC announcement? Already happened if you're talking about the minutes. If you're talking about the actual Fed meeting, it's September 21st. All right. Alrighty, guys. I will see a lot of you on the Discord. For those of you that are part of the Academy, if you want to be part of the Academy, the monthly signups are closed. However, check the link below and see if there are any openings to apply. Usually we open them towards the end of the month. There might be a few left. So go ahead and sign up if you like. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you guys for the St. Jude's donations. That was very generous of those of you that donated. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, and I will catch most of you on the Discord. For those of you, I will catch you on the next live. Talk to you guys soon. All right, guys. Peace.